Welcome to this upcycle tutorial. Today we're going to be making this. Day 24 of turning thrifted finds into things I can't afford. Are you even a fashion girly if you don't own one of these bomber jackets? I've seen so many designer versions I love. Leather, wool, suiting, all with that high neck and cropped shape. So I ran to my local charity shop and found this men's suit jacket in the £2 bin. It's real wool, which is crazy for £2. First thing, I cropped it. This is always the scariest part because there's no going back now. I folded the hem up twice, pressed it and added a drawstring to pull it in and give it that bomber shape. I used a safety pin to thread it through. Then I moved on to the zip, pinned it in place with the collar up and stitched it straight on. I added a bit of hardware and that's it. A £2 suit jacket turned bomber. Do you think it passes for designer? And would you give it a try? If you want to follow along, you're going to need an oversized suit jacket, some scissors, a sewing machine with a zipper foot, a safety pin, an open-ended zip that's as long as your jacket, eyelets and an eyelet tool, cord or twill tape, an iron, pins or clips, and a ruler and a marker pen. This reel really blew up, so I thought it was only right to share a proper tutorial on this jacket as a massive thank you for watching. And if you'd like more of these, let me know and give me a follow to encourage me. So this is what I started with, a men's suit jacket from the charity shop. It was £2 and real wool, which is kind of ridiculous. It's oversized, big shoulders, quite long, but I love the fabric and the sleeves were the right length for me, which basically means really long. So the first thing I did was just throw it on and work out where I actually wanted it to sit. I didn't want it super cropped because I still wanted to be able to wear it with low-rise jeans or trousers. So I pinned it roughly where it felt right on both sides. I took it off and put it on the mannequin. If you don't have a mannequin, that's okay. It just means you may have to do a little bit more of taking it on and putting it back off again and on and off and on and off. Once it was off, I drew a line with a marker pen so I could get it nice and straight, and I made sure to cut it 2 inches longer than where I'd pinned, so I had enough room to fold it up neatly. Now, slight issue, where I cut this particular jacket had pockets, so when I was starting to fold it up, it got really bulky really quickly. I decided the best way was to cut the pocket flaps off. I could do this quite neatly, and then I worked my fold just above that so everything would sit flat. Each jacket's different, so you might have to decide on your jacket what's best. But if you can remove bulk, it's always worth it because it'll sit much flatter and much neater. From there's lots of folding, pinning, ironing, folding, pinning and ironing. I folded it up once by 2 inches, pressed it, and then tried it on to check I was happy, and then went back over it by unfolding it and folding in the next part, basically to hide the raw edge. This means it's 2 inches folded up by 1 inch and then over again by another inch. I did have to trim a bit of the lining so it wasn't bunching up, and that's totally normal. Before sewing it down, I decided to add some eyelets at the front for the drawstrings to come out of. I marked pins where I felt they would look best. You can either measure about 7 centimeters back from the edge, or you can eyeball where you think would look best. I then untucked the ironed hem to insert the eyelets. I have a tool that makes it really easy. It makes a hole for you and then you add a different part to the device and it locks the eyelet in. There are cheap versions you can do with a kit and a hammer, or you can absolutely just sew a buttonhole instead. All we're trying to do here is create a neat hole for the string to come through that won't fray. Then I just stitched all the way around the hem, quite close to the edge. Don't stress too much if you're a new sewer, it doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to gather up anyway. Be careful though, if you have added eyelets that are metal, that you don't sew over them because you might break a needle. For the drawstring, I added some twill tape I already had, but you could use ribbon, cord, literally anything. I attached a safety pin to the end and fed it through the channel, which always takes a little bit of patience, especially over the thicker seams. I then added the little metal toggles at the end and tied a knot so it couldn't slip back through. And there you have a bomber-shaped jacket. You can pull in as tight as you like. Now, the zip is what really transforms it. So you need an open-ended zip. This means it will come completely open like a coat zip and not like a dress one that stays attached. I got a metal heavy duty one because it makes more sense on a jacket. I also bought a really long one and cut it down to the size of the jacket. To get the shape right, I put the jacket on the mannequin and cross the front over. Again, if you don't have a mannequin, you can pin it on yourself. At the bottom of the jacket, it only overlaps a little bit. This means as much of the fabric's width is still around the waist, which means you can pull it in with the drawstring. But the top, it overlaps quite a lot. So consider the zip will go on a diagonal. Again, your jacket will determine a lot of this. Then I pinned the zip on while it was closed, starting from the bottom so everything lined up properly. And you've got the open-ended part of the zip in play. And then I just keep checking that it opens and closes properly as I go. And I tried it on with all the pins in just to make sure that it actually worked on my body and not just the mannequin. Then I sewed it on using a zipper foot so I could get nice and close to the edge. And at the ends, I just fold the excess zip tape onto itself and slightly out the side and then trim it down and stitched it into place so it looked neat. And that's it. From a £2 men's suit jacket to a cropped bomber. Honestly, I think this might be one of my favourite things I've made. If you try this, please let me know. I'd love to see it. Please tag me on any channel at Linen Thief. And yeah, let me know if you think it passes for designer.